Hi, it's Mike Stephenson here. In today's video, we're going to talk about the Turbo 360 BAM data queries feature and how to use that with API management. So here we are taking a look at the architecture for this. So we have our API management here, which has been configured with App Insights login. So it's going to log telemetry into here, and under the hood, that's going to go into log analytics. Now, from a Turbo 360 perspective, we actually can query both App Insights and Log Analytics and use that as a data source to drive a business activity monitoring view. And the idea is that App Insights is normally aimed at a very technical user who's looking at, really a developer of some kind. But up here, we might have a business user, or we have a support operator, and those people may not be highly skilled with Azure to be able to go and use these logs effectively. So as a developer, I can use Turbo 360 to create a view that'll work really well for that user. So if we take a look at what this looks like, so in this scenario, we're looking at the Helpdesk ticket sync. So we have a third-party application who submits Helpdesk tickets to our API, and we integrate those into the Helpdesk system inside the organization. We expose that through API management, so the SaaS applications we've bought can submit tickets if they need to. Now, on the tree view on the left here, we've got the organization structure. We've got different integration transactions in different groups, so it's easy to see a support focused view of what your organization looks like and what different business processes you have. On the help desk sync here, we can see the grid here tells me about the API calls that have been made. So you can see I've got a bunch of ticket IDs that have been submitted. And in this case, we're just looking at tickets that have been created, so I can do other queries for different APIs and build a model that suits the operations that I really care about. But the support operator may get asked, did this ticket get created successfully? And we can see we've got the result here, we've got a status code, duration, etc. And what I can do is I can click on one of these transactions and that'll go and open it up. And you can see in this case, down here we've got the back end. So what I've used here is the dependency log in APIM, which goes into App Insights. I've used that log to drive looking at lower level detail about what's happening in this transaction, so I can string together a bunch of different log events if I want to. Now, I can click on that back-end system if I want, and I can see the additional properties here. So you can see here we've got some properties that come off this log query telling me about what's going on, and I can sort of filter this if I want to in the query to show only the properties I care about. But in this case, I'm just showing everything. Going beyond the basic transaction search, we also have other features such as the dashboard, where you could use the queries that you have in this business process to drive widgets that you show to the user. The idea is to create a single pane of glass to show what's going on. So here I've got a query that's just a time series graph showing me how many transactions or how many tickets we've processed each day. But you could do something like how many was successful, how many failed, and a number of other ways you could use the dashboard. I can also create a query that would monitor for any errors. So you can see down here, for example, I've created a query that says if we've had any tickets that fail, and if we run this query relatively frequently, we'll be able to raise alerts and tell if anything's going wrong with that API, so we can start getting some monitoring. In this case, I'm looking at a Teams channel for the notification, but I could maybe create ServiceNow tickets to drive some kind of support process. Now the question at this point, how do we make this, how do we build this view that we've got here for the users? So the first thing is over in API management, I've got my API here, so we should have my Helpdesk system API. And in the settings, I've got this configured with App Insights login. So you can see here I've got a destination, and we've got some details. I could even include headers or message bodies, for example. Now, In Table 360, we have to do a couple of things. So in the transaction area, start by creating a transaction here. And you can see I've given it a name, I've indicated that it's App Insights, I've picked the workspace it comes from, and then I've got this query here, which we'll go to our logs and have a quick look at. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a summarization of the requests, and then I can project out the columns I care about, and I get this view of what what transactions have been processed, and that really drives the top level on the grid. And then the next bit, I'll do some mapping, for example, here. So with these queries, I might map some of the columns. I'll promote, in this case, the operation ID would be used for the child queries for the different steps on the diagram. And down here, I've got like a mapping of the status. So if it was false, it would be a failure, and success, it would be if the value was true. Now, in the diagram, what I can do next is if I go into the edit here, I'm actually looking for the dependency log, which is a different table in App Insights, and I'm just looking for a dependency matching this API operation ID, which is the one we promoted in the parent query, and that'll basically light up this shape on the diagram. And hopefully that shows you that really you just need a couple of queries here to start making this API easy for the support team to see what's going on, to see where there's some issues and start getting more value from this. We're going away from this being buried away and difficult for people to use. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening.